Welcome back to It's in the Blood. If you don't already know, my name is Alex. This is Papa Blood, and we are back for another week 10 of the NFL, and we're going to try to make as many accurate picks / predictions as we can. But last week, both of us had a great week. I went 10-4. It should have been 11 or 12. But whatever, and Papa Blood over here went 11-3. I made up 0 ground because I didn't think he was going to have just as perfect as a week as I did. I don't feel nearly as confident now as I did standing here a week ago, but we're going to do our best.
Ought to be fun.
Oh, yeah. Before we get into that, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe button, and be sure to drop a comment about any of your predictions for this week, or just let us know how you did last week. Either or. And if you'd like to make picks alongside of me and my partner here, there's a link in the description that you can make picks with us. Now that we've got all of that out of the way, starting off for week 10 Thursday night football, we have the 1-7 Panthers heading to take on the 2-7 Bears.
I love primetime games. They just match up top tier opponents every single time. Bryce Young got kind of beat up last week a little bit. Tyson Bagent got beat up a little bit last week. They're playing in Chicago. Give me the Bears at home. I just feel like home field advantage is all I'm picking on this week.
I'm right there with you. I'm going to pick the Bears as well. I think if this had been in Carolina, I may have leaned more towards Carolina. The one thing I will say about this is I know Bryce Young had a tough week against the Colts with the 2 pick sixes last week. This will be the first, I think, true primetime game because his first one was on Monday Night Football doubleheader. I don't feel like it was as intense. I think he'll handle the pressure well. They're just off to a rough start, and they're having a down season. So I'm going to give the edge to the Bears at home to get a win, but I would not be surprised if the Panthers upset them here.
Absolutely not.
Moving on to our early morning Sunday game. We've got a second week in a row. We are in Germany. We've got the 4-5 Colts taking on the quote-unquote rival New England Patriots, sitting at 2-7, which I can't remember the last time the Patriots were 2-7. I feel like this might actually be a pretty good game.
Yeah, this is one of the games this week that I was completely torn because I think the Colts have a great roster, but I don't think New England is as bad as their record. Belichick always has a way to win games that I don't think he should. I was leaning towards New England, but you know what? I think another week under center. Give me the Colts in Germany. I think I'm going to go with the numbers here. I think Jonathan Taylor's on the uptick. He had a really good week last week. I think the running game is going to reign supreme.
You know, before we sat down here to record this video, I had made my mind up that I was going to take the Colts this week. But then, I did a little bit of research and I started looking around. The Patriots have a really good record abroad, and the Colts have only been abroad one other time. And it was a divisional opponent, so you can chalk that up to whatever you will. They did not win, but it was a one-score game. But in history, the Patriots have blown out almost every team they've played at abroad. Granted, those were a lot different teams then, but something just tells me that Bill Belichick and the Patriots know how to handle the out-of-country crowd better than most teams. So I am actually going to switch over and take the Patriots to get their third dub this year.
What was it that you said to me last week when I picked the Patriots? I can't remember.
You know what? Well, I picked against the Colts last week, so let's just chalk it up to that. So, give me the Patriots. If the Colts win, they're the better team right now, and they deserve to win. So, I won't be mad.
Fair enough.
I also don't like picking the Patriots right now in this position, but something is just telling me to for the first time in weeks. Moving on to our first 1 o'clock game of the week here. We've got an AFC North battle. That's what I'm going to call it because that's what that division is. We have the 5-3 Cleveland Browns heading into Baltimore to take on the rising stars, the shining Baltimore Ravens sitting at 7-2.
Thank
What you
goodness
making of?
somebody else in the North has to lose this week because every week it seems like everybody in the North has been winning lately. You know, Deshaun Watson, I still feel is shaky. Lamar is still the better quarterback. He's at home. He's rose to the occasion every week. Every time they put him up against a good team, he annihilates them. But this one's going to be stupid close because it's a divisional matchup. I look for it to be a low-scoring divisional game. Give me the Ravens at home.
I wanted to go by the book here, but something is like, I don't know, something is weird about this game because Deshaun Watson did play last week. I know it was, I don't even, the Cardinals, I think, but he actually looked a lot better than he has since he's been in Cleveland for the first time. So something is like really strange here. Both of these teams have been playing an excellent defensive game. Both of these teams have been winning. Baltimore has looked unstoppable the last couple weeks, and that's why I'm gonna get I'm gonna take the Browns as my upset pick here. I think it's gonna be a close game, irregardless of who wins, but I think it might be a little bit of a gut check for the Ravens, win or lose, because they're gonna get slowed down. That's just how these grindy divisional games are. I don't know how, I don't know why, but something is telling me to just take the Browns. I'm not a Deshaun Watson believer, but I am a believer in how elite that defense is. And, Cleveland's run game has been beyond respectable. So as long as they don't, make a mess of themselves, they'll be in this one till the end.
I can live with that.
For your sake, you'd probably be just fine with that.
I can tell as long as one of these teams lose, I don't care. As long as they don't tie.
Next game we've got on the slate, we got another AFC West team, but we've got the 3-5 Packers heading to Pittsburgh to take on the 5-3 Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, another AFC North going against the NFC North. I don't like the Steelers' offense this year, but I love their defense. Jordan Love hasn't grown this year like I think that they hoped he had so far in Green Bay, and that is a very young roster still to this day. I like the Steelers at home in this one. I would love for Green Bay to steal a win, but give me Kenny Pickett and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Dude, that offense makes me sick, honestly. And at this point, who knows even if it is Matt Canada, but that offense makes me sick. I'm going to throw you a couple stats here that I don't know if you're aware of. The offense for Green Bay has played better than the Steelers offense in terms of points. Also, the Packers defense has allowed less points this year than the Steelers elite defense. Therefore, this is another probably considerable upset. I am going to take the Packers on the road to build some momentum after they put a pounding on the Rams. It wasn't pretty. It was a kind of ugly game, but they won by more than one score. The Steelers have a hard time putting up 20 points in any game. The Packers are more than capable of it. It just depends on which team's going to show up, but I'm going to go out on a whim here and say the Packers can score 21, and that's more than enough to beat the Steelers. So I'm going to take them for another AFC North upset this week. This might be.
I will gladly give up a couple games to you if you get your picks right.
The next game we've got was a 4-4 Texans heading to take on your 5-3 Bengals.
I love CJ Stroud. I've been saying it all along. I really love him. He put up numbers. I just watched the full version of the Texans game last week against Baker Mayfield, and that last drive that he orchestrated it with less than a minute to go was great.
That is he looks like a pro.
However, when he goes up against a formidable defense on the road, he's not as good. I just love the way the Bengals are playing. Although T. Higgins got hurt in practice today, I don't know how severe that was. Two of the star wide receivers are a little hurt. Makes me a little edgy about Sunday's game. But I do like the Bengals at home. I just think that they're a little more polished right now than Houston. And I think that Houston's been getting wins at the expense of, like, I look at their game in Carolina and feel like that's how they're going to play on the road.
I feel like that game is near the closest thing to a divisional game that you can chalk it up to just being the fact that Bryce Young and CJ Stroud go way back to like diapers pretty much, and that was like just playing backyard football with your brother. I can't chalk that one up as the same as like an everyday game for them. The Bengals, they did what they were supposed to against the Bills. It was a little bit closer than it should have been, but I feel partially that the Bengals kind of took their foot off the gas at some point in that game. Against these AFC, we'll call them rivals, the top teams in the AFC, I just feel like at no point should you ever take your foot off the gas. Right now, it's fine. They got the dub. Down the road, there's going to be another hungry team. They still got to play Baltimore. Teams like that aren't going to slow down just because, they're not going to. So as long as they can continue to do that, they're going to continue to shine. And I like the direction they're going. I'm going to get burnt alive for this one, but I'm going to slander my third North team in in the last 3 picks, and I'm going to pick the Texans on the road. This is a 1:00 game. It's not prime time. I think there's a lot less pressure, but even then, CJ Stroud straight up said pressure makes diamonds, and that's exactly his interview after that game. He said they picked me at number 2. I have to play like I deserve to be picked at number 2. I like this to be an actual close game. Cincinnati should win. They're the overall better team. I think this is going to be one of the better games of the week. I think they disrespected Houston by making this a 7-point spread. I think it should have been like 5.5. We'll see what happens. I think it might be a better game than people think.
Oh, I know it's going to be. I can't wait to see the offense. I think it might be a scoring game.
I'm going to throw this out there to all the Bengals fans that I had to fight with this week over literally nothing. I'm not disrespecting your team. So I still love the Bengals. I just feel like this might not be a good week for the North. Weird matchups. Moving on to the next, we've got the 2 5-4 NFC teams taking it on. The Saints heading to Minnesota, taking on Joshua Dobbs, who has been just whatever he is. He's incredible. I don't know. What do you think about this?
I love Josh Dobbs. I love the fact that he can go anywhere, put a helmet on, and be an admirable teammate that fires people up without even thinking about it. He's calm, cool, and collected. I like him with this Minnesota offense. I really like what Brian Flores is developing on defense up there. But I'm going off the cuff. I'm going to take the guy I hate the most, and that's Derek Carr. I don't think he's a great quarterback, but I'm going to take Derek Carr and the Saints on the road just because I feel like that offense is finally starting to gel. Give me the Saints in Minnesota.
This is one that I have teetered on back and forth the last day, trying to figure out what I was going to sit down here and say to this video about this game. I just have nothing. I have nothing. I don't know. The Saints have played good football on the road. Minnesota's played their worst ball at home. I'm going to take my L if it comes this week, and I'm going to take the Vikings at home. I think it's never a bad idea to take a home team. Josh Dobbs is inspired, and he's inspired a lot of people on that team after they were decimated after the loss of Kirk Cousins. This is a toss-up for me. This is one of those 50-50 games. In any normal circumstance, I would take the Saints without even thinking twice. I think this kind of feels like the Raiders last week with this new interim coach coming in there, getting these guys wound up. That's how I feel about Josh Dobbs and this, especially this offense. And you inspire your offense and your defense is going to get inspired as well. The defense has been playing a lot better the last couple weeks. So Saints could win it. I'm going to take the home team because I don't really know. And I think that's the best way to go if you just don't know. That one's going to be that game feels like it could end in a tie, like honestly.
For real.
Next game we got on the schedule, both teams coming off of a bye. We've got the 5-3 Niners heading to take on the 6-2 Jags, who before their bye were on a 5-game win streak. I'm gonna let you go first because I've already got my mind made up here.
Listen, I'm gonna sing the praises. Doug Peterson, Trevor Lawrence, they've been on the same page this year. They started out a little sluggish, but they have been on a roll. They've been playing good teams. They've been beating good teams. They went abroad. They won 2 games in Europe. They're coming back home, and they get a bye week off to prepare for this San Francisco 49er team. They have not seen Chase Young and Bosa line up on the same line together. There's no tape for that. They've been a little bit sketchy on their offensive line. I don't think Brock Purdy's better than Trevor Lawrence, but I do think San Francisco's defense is going to be a little bit different this week with Fred Warner, Greenlaw, Chase Young, and Bosa attacking. And I think that the 49ers are going to have a very good victory on the road this week.
Yeah, this is one of my 2 for sure locks of the week. Like, I am more confident than I've ever been. Listen, I dog on Brock Purdy just because I can, and I will continue to. That's got nothing to do with the fact that he played with a concussion for 2 games straight. I'm with you. Everything you said, 100%. The Jags are a good football team. This game will not define them, win or lose. I mean, a win obviously solidifies even more, but a loss here does not end the conversation. They're still a good football team. The Niners had a week to get Brock Purdy out of concussion protocol officially, get him healthy, get the rest of these guys that have been a little bit banged up healthy. Deebo Samuel's expected to come back this week. Christian McCaffrey had a week to get that tear, back manageable. In my mind, this isn't even a close game to me. Give me the 49ers to take care of business. They're not a bad team. I don't care that they lost 3 in a row. They're still a great team. One of the at least top 5 teams in the league, if not higher than that. I'm not a 49ers fan, but I know that this is their win. Sorry, Jags. This one might be hard to watch, but just know your team is still good at football. This is just a really bad circumstance for you to be in.
Right.
All right. Moving on to the next. We have got the Will Levis officially named starting quarterback leading the 3-5 Titans heading over to Tampa Bay to take on the 3-5 Buccaneers.
Rest in peace, Ryan Tannehill. You may never start again for the Tennessee Titans. Because once you go with a rookie quarterback that plays fairly well, he showed well in 2 games. Ryan Tannehill will not see the field again this year unless he gets hurt, and hopefully he doesn't get hurt. That being said, going into Tampa Bay, I think these teams are pretty dang even, honestly. They got great wide receivers. They're not perfect at quarterback. Titans have a better running game, but I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a better defense. Give me Baker Mayfield and the Bucs at home.
Honestly, my only issue with Tampa Bay, my only issue is their lack of run game. Other than that, they've played respectable football. They've had some tough losses. I mean, CJ Stroud last week, that's not Baker Mayfield's fault that he had one of the greatest games of a rookie of all time.
Right.
That's just one of them things. The Titans, they suffered a bad loss against the Steelers last week. Will Levis is still a rookie as well. This is only going to be his 2nd or 3rd game playing. I look for him to score points. This is a good defense he's going against. Derrick Henry is the only thing that can help them win this game, but I'm going to take the Buccaneers at home as well.
I'm going to say this really fast because I don't normally say it. I watched the Houston-Tampa Bay game earlier today, and Baker Mayfield made some incredible reads and made some really good throws. He's on his way back.
That whole game was absolutely incredible, honestly. That's a football fan's dream type of game.
I like to dog people out, but I'll give him credit when it's due.
Oh, I dog Baker weekly, but he played a perfect game, honestly. Maybe not perfect, but he did just about all he could do.
He did all he could do to win.
Yeah, and you know what? I give him respect for that. Moving on to our next game, we've got the 4-5 Atlanta Falcons heading to the desert to take on the 1-8 Arizona Cardinals, and Kyler Murray is set to make his season debut.
Yeah, and I don't have the warm and fuzzies about it either. Here's my take on that, and I might, if it just changes your opinion, then so be it. If it doesn't, we know how that is. We're different this week anyway. Basically, He's coming off knee surgery. He's been off for almost a year, a little less than a year, honestly.
Just
And
barely.
the best part about his offense is when he gets out of the pocket. I'm going to go back to Joe Burrow's calf where he couldn't extend plays or do anything like that. Looked very different than he does when he can move around a little bit and avoid pressure. I don't think Kyler Murray is going to run. I don't think they're going to let him run. I'm a little bit worried about him being a pocket passer. I don't have a lot of confidence in the Atlanta Falcons. I don't have any confidence in Arizona's offense. Give me the Falcons on the road.
I'm with you. Anybody who's watched us knows that I've been really suspect about Atlanta for at least the last 3 weeks. And so has the league. It's not just me. The league has had to go talk to them. Things are weird there. I don't know what's going on. I'm fairly confident we're going to get another week of Taylor Heineke. I think he played a pretty good game. He made one mistake, one turnover last week that may or may not have been the defining turning point of that game. Other than that, he played a great football game, and another week getting QB1 reps, going through the motions with this team. I feel a lot more confident than a guy who has not been in a football game since last season. I'm not going to knock Kyler Murray's talent. I think when he is on, he can be on. He can be a great quarterback. Not my personal favorite, but I just think it's going to be a slow start for him. He's going to be playing a little bit nervous because he knows how he balls out, and that's exactly what got him to this point. And so I think it's going to be a timid Cardinals offense against a Falcons team who at least has somewhat of an identity right now. And so I'm going to take the Falcons on the road as well. But if the Cardinals sneak a win at home here, I won't be surprised because the Cardinals or the Falcons are not the best team on the road. And so this is a toss-up game. Right now, I think Atlanta's the better football team and more prepared anyway.
Yes,
Moving on to our next game, we got a AFC NFC matchup that honestly is kind of interesting for a few reasons. We got the 6-2 Lions coming off of a bye, heading to the Chargers on a short week after playing Monday Night Football, sitting at 4-4.
so I love this game. If I had a choice of games to that would be great to broadcast or be on, I think this one would be really good because I think Justin Herbert and his offense is good enough to really compete against this improved Lions defense. I think they're going to be able to score points. I think this one's going to be, a game that's played in the 20s or the 30s. I think it's going to be high scoring. It's going to be a lot like the first game of the season that the Chargers had at home this year where it was a shootout. It's going to be a lot like that. However, I'm going back to look to see what I picked here. Okay, yeah. Coming off the bye, Jared Goff going back to LA, it's going to be kind of bittersweet in a way. I really feel like the Dan Campbell's team is going to be ready to go in all phases. Putting up 27 on the Jets didn't impress me none, to be honest. So the Jets, they just didn't impress me in that game. I'm going to say that Justin Herbert didn't look great in that game. Detroit's going to win the game, but it's going to be a shootout.
You take it back to their first home game being a shootout. I'm going to take it back to their first game against Kansas City, another AFC West team. This is the type of game that I see it being. After Monday Night Football, listen, you guys can say whatever you want about Zach Wilson. I get it. Listen, I'm not going to listen to it, though. But the Chargers defense played its best football game on Monday Night Football. If they can replicate what they did on Monday against this Lions team, obviously the Lions will score more points than the Jets did. I picture this game being identical to week 1 in Arrowhead. A very tight battle, not high scoring like in the 30s, but somewhere around the 20s. Two defenses that have been playing really well, two offenses that are starting to, the Lions have been blossoming, even dealing with, they lose their starting running back. Well, their backups is great. They lose their best wide receiver. Somebody else steps up. It's always next man up in Detroit. So it doesn't matter who's going out there for them. They're going to play their best football. As long as the Chargers defense plays the way they did, this is going to be a close one. I am going to take the Lions. They have a really good record on the road this season, and the Chargers don't really have that home field advantage feel. So I'm going to take the Lions, but if their defense can shut Jared Goff down, can shut Gibbs, whoever's running the football down, they have a really fair shot to win this game. Moving on to the next one, I will just let you know I'm going to go first on this one. Going to keep it short and sweet. We've got the 2-7 Giants with a new rookie QB at the helm, taking on the 5-3 Giants, or 5-3 Cowboys, coming off a bad loss to the Eagles. Give me the Cowboys. There is literally nothing for me to say about this game. I hope you learned your lesson. So go ahead and take the floor.
Ditto. I take the Cowboys as well. There's nothing that the Giants have in Dallas. So
my absolute 100% lock of the week.
Yeah. If you want to bet a game, if you want to bet a money line on one game this week, take that one and bet everything you got.
All I'm saying is Papa Blood learned the hard way in week 1. I'm glad he is smartened up here in week 10. Do not bet on the Giants against the Cowboys. You can bet on them against anybody else, but not the Cowboys. Moving on to the next, because we didn't even need to say that out loud. That felt like a waste of time to me. We've got the 4-5 Commanders heading to Seattle to take on the Seahawks, sitting at 5-3.
Make or break game for both of these teams in a way. Seattle has had some ups and downs, but they've been playing some really tough competition. They played against the North the last 3 weeks for the most part. I really think that they're a better team. However, I think they're starting to figure out Geno Smith, how to defend him a little better. Teams are getting a little bit better of taking away what he does well. Washington's been playing up and down football. But the one thing I will say about the Commanders is that they're starting to protect Sam Howell. And the more he gets protection, the better he plays. I still want the Seahawks at home, but I like this one to be a close game.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a close game. The Seahawks had a really bad week last week, but Baltimore's been playing lights out the last 4. So, it was just a bad situation, man. I didn't expect that game to look like that. I expected the Seahawks to put up a little bit more of a fight than they did, but kudos to Baltimore, man. You did more than I thought you were going to win, but I didn't think you were going to straight up decimate that whole team. But on the other side, last week we were talking about the Commanders. You had your doubts going into New England. I put my faith in them, and it paid off. These two teams, Washington's played great on the road. Seattle's played great at home, other than one game. I'm not sure how I feel about this Seahawks offense, because I feel like they're very similar to Miami, that they could put up 45 points any game if they wanted to. But I also feel like the Commanders can go toe-to-toe with any offensively scoring team. This is my week of upsets, I think. I'm going to take the Commanders on the road. Sam Howell is leading the league, I think, in passing yards this year.
Probably.
Or he's up in the top 3. He's playing really well. I know he's had a couple crap games, but this team has been evolving with him over the last few weeks. Even with them selling out half of their defensive line, they played a great game defensively yesterday. That's the next man up mentality. I like the Commanders here, but if Seattle bounces back, they're supposed to. Let's be honest. They're supposed to bounce back this week. Moving on to our Sunday night football matchup, we've got the 4-4 New York Jets heading to Vegas to take on the 4-5 Raiders. I already know what you're going to say, but go ahead.
The Raiders had some newfound joy for the game. When you remove cancer from a building, the guys can relax and play football again without playing tense. Everybody was fighting, argumentative before. Nobody was happy. They came out last week and laid a whooping. They played football. They played fun. They smiled. They carried on.
That's a one time I will pull for the Raiders this year, man. Last week, 100%.
Yeah, and I'm going to defend you for 1 second. Zach Wilson is playing better. He's just not quite there yet. I think they've got some things to work out on offense. I'm not sure. I think they got another offensive lineman hurt this week. that will probably not be in the game. So that's another backup. Max Crosby's a beast. I feel sorry for Zach in this game. I think the Raiders are going to beat him up. He's going to take a lot of hits. The Jets are going to lose, but it's not going to be his fault. Give me the Raiders.
Listen, we've got Marcus Peters, we've got Max Crosby. The list goes on of defensive players that are on the injury report this week, and that is concerning because of the type of energy that defense is bringing to bring this Raiders team back to life. Like you said, the offensive line for the Jets, they might as well just put Zach out there by himself because nobody is going to protect him. They don't have the help. I still believe, and I'm going to continue to believe, the Raiders had their sunshine moment that they were supposed to have, and I am more than appreciative and happy for that moment last week. Sorry, Giants fans. It's nothing personal. It was just going to happen either way. Maybe Alan Lazard will get some new gloves for this game and be able to catch more than the ground, I guess. I don't know. But somehow, some way, the Jets have been playing pretty good football on the road, even with Zach Wilson, because Aaron Rodgers only played 4 snaps in a home game, so everything else has been him. But they have played good football on the road. They beat the Eagles. I mean, they've beat teams that matter. I think they build on what was almost working last week. It was just one step off on everything against the Chargers. But this week, Robert Saleh still believes in Zach Wilson, and I have no reason to not believe in him if their head coach can go up there and get scrutinized every single week and defend that guy. So give me the Jets. The Raiders, I won't be surprised if you win this game. I'm still mad at the Chargers, but if you win, kudos to you because I said you might not lose another game this year, and I think that's a curse on me. Moving on to our last game. Wait, before we go there, I still think Zach Wilson is the GOAT. End of discussion. I'll fight that to my death. But moving on to our next game, we've got Monday Night Football. We've got the Denver Broncos on a little bit of a win streak here, heading to Buffalo to take on the Bills. Both these teams desperate to keep winning.
Sean McDermott has not lost to Denver since 2017, since he's been there. I don't think it'll happen now. Buffalo is too good a team to continually get beat. They're going to come home on Monday Night Football under the lights. I expect to see some good things out of Josh Allen this week. I think they build on playing decent in Cincinnati and get the dub.
Listen, they've only lost 1 out of their 5 games at home thus far. They kind of got embarrassed a little bit on primetime last week against the Bengals. That's a bad taste in their mouth. This is one of them situations, man, because I just really don't want to root for Denver. But I could smell a weird game upset here. I refuse to pick it. I'm going to take Buffalo, but Buffalo has been playing as inconsistently as a football team can play. If Buffalo loses this game to Denver, this is what I said about Jordan Love and the Packers last week. I might be giving up on them.
Uh-oh.
And there's no bad blood. I love Josh Allen. I love the Bills. I've been supporting him since he was a rookie. I'm going to take the Bills because they need to win. But if they lose here, they need to raise the alarms. They need to send a search party out and find the real Buffalo Bills because something's wrong if they lose. But Denver, beat Kansas City. They're on a 2 or 3 game win streak. They're feeling good. They've got a lot of confidence coming into this game. So that's something I don't think Buffalo has right now is confidence. So this is a scary trap game for the Bills and Bills Mafia. Your team needs to get a dub or it's time to worry. So I'm going to ride with the Bills this week, but they've got a kind of tough schedule remaining as well. And I'm going to stop riding with them. And doesn't mean I'm going to ride with Denver, but I'm going to stop riding with them if they put up another poor showing on primetime.
Very well. Congratulations to 3 of the better teams in football. The Chiefs, the Eagles, and the Dolphins getting a bye week. The Rams, I feel sorry for you for picking up Carson Wentz. You've added cancer to your building.
Yes.
If anybody can fix Carson Wentz, it's Sean McVay, but I don't even know that we're going to see him. But I just wanted to say that before we ended up tonight.
Yeah, shout out to my boys, the Chiefs, the Eagles, and the Dolphins. I apologize, Dolphins fans. You guys played an actual semi-solid game against us in Germany. No bad blood there either. And the Rams, you're the losers of the week. No matter what, you signed Carson Wentz, so good luck with that. I'm glad you're in that division, so I don't have to pay attention to it. But yeah, thanks for hanging with us, watching our video. We're ready for Thursday Night Football and whatever chaos that may bring us. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Comment down below any of your picks, predictions, how you feel, how you don't feel, what you're wearing today, what your shoe color is, whatever you want. Let us know in the comments. We read all of them. You guys are awesome. We will see you for Thursday Night Football, and we'll see you then. We'll see you on Thursday Night Football. Peace.
Peace.
You, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, do solemnly swear
I, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, do solemnly swear
that you will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States
and will, to the best of your ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.